keep playing together and keep having fun.
Games coming up shortly in men's college basketball. Kentucky takes on Texas A&M. That's the SEC tournament final. In the Big Ten, it's number 2 Michigan State, another potential top seed, taking on Purdue today as well. NHL in progress right now on NBC television. The Pittsburgh Penguins, an early goal against the New York Rangers. Right now, they're just about 9 minutes to go until the end of the first period. It's the Penguins 1, the Rangers nothing. Patrick Hornquist a goal for Pittsburgh, his 18th of the season. He banked it off the back of the goaltender. Nice goal there. In baseball news, it's spring training. That means teams are getting ready, but also some players are getting injured as they try to get back to baseball shape. Dodgers shortstop Corey Seager is going to be out at least a week, maybe 2, with a strained knee. 3-time All-Star pitcher Jared Weaver of the Angels will see a spine specialist. He's been complaining about a sore neck. His last outing, he gave up 3 home runs and couldn't top out at much more than 81 miles an hour with the fastball. That's not enough for the majors. Matt Wieters of the Orioles out with a sore elbow. The x-rays came back. No major issue there, but remember, Wieters had Tommy John surgery in June of 2014. This is NBC Sports Radio and the NBC Sports Radio mobile app.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jim Rinaldi. For this morning, a mainly clear sky. Sun gives way to some clouds today. There'll be a stray afternoon shower, high 66. Mostly cloudy with a chance for a shower tonight, low 52. We'll have clouds and a shower to start the day on Monday, then some afternoon sun, high 68. Plenty of sunshine Tuesday, high 80. Wednesday, sunny, high 86. Thursday's going to be sunny, high 84. Sunny Friday, high 82. That's your weather forecast for this hour from KCAA 106.5 FM and 1050 AM. The stations that leave no listener behind.
It's time for the KCAA Community Calendar, brought to you exclusively by Learn for Life, a growing network of public charter schools. The clear mission of Learn for Life is to motivate and mentor students who have dropped out of school and provide them with the personalized education and technical training necessary to advance their lives.
Here's a look at the KCAA Community Calendar. I'm Di Rice. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Athletic Federation introduces the Compassion Fitness Campaign. If you're looking to get in shape, look no further. The Sweat Boot Camp is here. Compassion Fitness will run through March 26th. Can't afford a fitness boot camp? Bet you can, because it's free as long as you're willing to donate winter clothing or personal hygiene items upon entry. See, not only will you be doing something great for yourself, you'll be doing something great for the homeless in our community. The Sheriff's Athletic Federation will be partnering with Joe Smith and Sweat. The SAF is a nonprofit organization established in 1984 to promote fitness within the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. Sweat boot camps will be held every Saturday until March 26th. Start times are at 9:30 a.m. at Sweat Athletics, located at 4833 Lanier Road in Chino. While you're thinking about it, do it. Sign up. Get in shape. Go to www.sweatathletics.com, and sign up for a boot camp date. I'm Di Rice, and that's the Community Calendar on KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM.
The KCAA Community Calendar is presented exclusively by Learn for Life, a growing network of public charter schools where students can complete their education on a part-time basis. To find a resource center nearest you, call 1-877-360-LEARN or visit Learn for Life online at learn4life.org.
Gotcha Racing Live, heard only on KCAA, is your command center for racing news, the hottest interviews, and DIY projects. We are your destination for interviews with racers and fans, on-track interviews, in-shop interviews with engine builders, car restorers. Hear from our correspondents on live track, car shows. Gotcha Racing Live. Start your engine and race on over to KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM every Saturday at our new time, 11 a.m. Gotcha Racing Live, where we put you in the driver's seat.
KCAA is proud to announce another new service for all North American listeners. Now you can listen to our station on your telephone by calling us at 832-999-1050. Our service is available on any standard telephone, cell phone, or smartphone. Simply call 832-999-1050. That's 832-999-1050. Standard cell phone rates may apply.
From foster youth to foster youth advocate, join Dr. Anissa McNeil every Monday night for Foster to Foster, 7 p.m. right here on KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM.
KCAA Loma Linda, your CNBC news station, where your business comes first.
Live from San Bernardino, California. We are not in Chicago. We are in San Bernardino, California. I am not Donald Trump. I'm Wallace Allen. I am not Bernie Sanders. I'm Wallace Allen. I am definitely not Hillary Clinton. I'm Wallace Allen. Just to keep you from getting overly confused, I know that the world seems to be circulating around Mr. Donald Trump, and I don't think we should probably stray too far from that if we want to have an audience. So, I'm Wallace Allen. This is Empire Talks Back. We want to thank you for joining us this morning. If you have to get up and move around, let me tell you, you can do that comfortably. Take your telephone, dial 832-999-1050, and guess what? Your phone turns into a speaker. It turns into the speaker for the Empire Talks Back radio show. And all you've got to do now is you can go out and do your garden work. Hey, you could take me to church. Do what you want to do as long as you keep us live in your pocket. Use your radio to go. Dial 832-999-1050. Take us with you. Well, folks, very seriously, we are in a political atmosphere unlike any that we've seen recently. This is an atmosphere that says if you haven't chosen someone, don't worry, somebody's going to choose you. If you have not determined at this point who you want to vote for, that makes you really the subject of attention from, I'm sure that Mr. Rubio and Mr. Cruz, Mr. Kasich, Miss Hillary Clinton, Trump, Bernie Sanders, all of these people are wanting to find someone who hasn't made up their mind so they can talk to them and convince them to vote for. You got to vote. You're going to have to vote for somebody. I hear people say that if my candidate doesn't make it to the top, I'm going to vote for the other candidate. If my Republican candidate doesn't get to the top, I'm going to vote for a Democrat. If my Democrat candidate doesn't get to the top, I'm going to vote for a Republican. Boy, are they that interchangeable? Are people that angry? Are we, I know one thing, we're very interested. We have Mr. Leonard Evans on the phone with us. We have Mr. Joe Britt. Joe Britt is a member of the, make it official. Tell me, Joe, you're part of a delegate process for the Democrat Party here in the state of California. Is that correct?
Yeah. Hello, IE. This is Joe Britt. I'm serving as the executive board member for the 47th Assembly District, which encompasses 7 cities. And I'm also a delegate of the same 47th Assembly District in California. So you're part of this, the basic Democrat establishment over the, in terms of, I see how you're saying it, but you're part of the structure. I'm not a muckety muck, though. I'm not one of the muckety mucks, but I'm one of the guys that are in the State Department that everybody knows. Yeah. For this area. Okay. And so there are muckety mucks? What's a muckety muck? Let's get the ball rolling. What is a muckety muck? Who's a muckety muck? What do you mean? Overly inflated ego person.
People who think that they're very important because they have a delegate ticket in their pocket that can say, tell me the power of being a delegate. What does that mean, Joe?
Well, something, it could be strenuous at sometimes, and it could be pleasant at one time. Now, what do? We endorse people that's going to represent our area in the Inland Empire.
And your region again is the 47th?
Our region is the 13th.
The 13th.
Region 13. Our area our district is 47. Okay, which encompasses Rialto, Muscoy, Fontana, San Bernardino, Bloomington, Colton. I'm missing one other city, and Fontana. Okay. So all those we have to deal with, and all the constituents in there, we listen. Oh, I do. I listen.
Yes.
And I have to take that to the state. I just can't, on my own, say, well, I'll go ahead and just do this. You know, there's a constituency out there that I do listen to.
And how many people represent that constituency, or how many delegates like you represent that constituency?
There's 14 delegates of the 47th, and there's 7 women and 7 men who represent this great 47th Assembly District. And out of that,
and you guys are elected.
We're elected by population at large.
Yes.
All right. Okay. By the people out of those 7 cities which I just mentioned, and so it's not to be a delegate for the state. It's not an appointed position. It's a elected position.
Yes.
In which I am, and also I got elected at the same time to represent this district as a member, executive member.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, Joe, we're going to talk a little bit. You went to San Jose for the state Democratic convention, and this is where you guys use your delegate power to endorse various people who are running within the party.
Yes.
For state positions.
Right. And so what we did, it was very lively this year. And what we did was we put...
A lively convention during this political year, I would imagine so.
It seemed like, you know what? It seemed like everybody and their mama came out, okay?
It makes sense. It makes sense.
So...
I mean, you have a pretty strong element here. I mean, you've got Northern California. Folks have never been there. That's where Berkeley exists, and if you don't know what Berkeley is, you probably need to wake up. Berkeley is probably the haven for the far left. I won't say haven, but it's certainly a good birth spot.
That's where the money is, man.
You're going to find some money there, but you're also going to find some pretty free thinkers in the Berkeley area. Now, we're going to always talk about 2 groups. You're going to talk about the group of the muckety-muck, the people who feel like they are in charge of representing, and then there's the people who vote and act out according to sometimes their needs, but many times it's also a reflection of the leadership, how people are going. It appears that there's a bit of a conflict now with leadership and the people as we look at how folks are dealing with the Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders issue.
So we're talking on the large, not the state level, but a Fed level.
Well, a Fed level, but we have to get to the feds. We have to get to the state. For instance,
right.
When you went to your state convention, there were people there. As soon as you got through dealing with your local state business, I'm sure that there was some kind of demonstration or statements made about who California should go for,
right?
Bernie or Hillary,
right? And what I observed was this. This was it Saturday? I believe it was. It was Saturday, and
now this sounds like is this going to be an exciting story?
Well, no, it's short and sweet. Anyway,
but is it exciting? Is it something we can kind of look
I'll make it
exciting.
I'll make it exciting.
Okay, let me get you to hold on then, while I take a break, and let's take this excitement over the. Can you remember?
Yeah,
you sure you remember?
I'll try.
You want to make notes?
No, go ahead.
Okay, this is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. I'm talking to a guy that's nowhere near as old as I am. He's got a memory problem, but that's okay. This is Empire Talks Back. We're going to take this short break. We are discussing the California State Democratic Convention, which took place 2 weeks ago.
That's correct.
And Joe Britt is one of the delegates from the 47th district that recently went up there, and he's back to explain to us a little bit about what happened there and to give us some spontaneous response to some of the other things that we
only if my memory holds out, okay?
If his memory holds up, but he may be lucky. My memory may not take me back to this question. So we want to thank the Mood Master for joining us this morning and giving us a nice little wall to lean on. And we have Mr. Tafase here today with his video. We're appreciating him too. All right, this is Empire Talks Back. Hang on for a short break. We'll be right back.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
KCAA, where every day is a great day.
This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen, and you were not in San Jose 2 weeks ago at the Democratic Convention, but Mr. Joe Britt, my guest at my left, was. And he has a short story, exciting story, that he'd like to share with us.
Well, I'll see if I can make it exciting for the next 2 minutes.
I'll be excited, and I'll say amen and stuff too. We'll pretend you're a political hack, and that you're making a speech, and that I've been paid to cheer for you.
Oh, listen to that.
Let's see how this goes.
The check's going to be in the mail. Okay. During the convention, it was quite lively. We had all of our folks to show up in the 47th, and the ones that didn't show up had proxies. We made doggone sure no one was not represented, because
you cannot vote more than one time.
That's right.
So you took proxies for the people that weren't going to be there.
Absolutely right. And you had to be there. If you weren't there, you had your proxy had to be there.
Okay.
And so we made sure ahead of time we did that.
Sounds like you have a punishment potential for those that didn't.
No. We don't punish. It's just that we had a game plan. We had a game plan, and we worked diligently to get this game plan to function the way we want to function at the state convention level.
Okay.
So, between the caucuses that I was going to, I'd be doggone if there was a large contingency of people on behalf of Bernie. When I say large, I'm talking maybe 2,500 people that were there. They started on the outside of the convention, and you can hear the chant. Now,
so this is at the convention?
At the convention, right. And inside you have, you got your speakers, you got your different rooms for caucusing and whatnot, and then you have your voting booth. So they decided to come in. Bernie, something for Bernie. We were wondering what the heck was that about.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden they started coming in. They got so loud inside, and they were upstairs where I was downstairs, and you can hear the feet. Boom, boom. You thought
now, this is about 2,500 or Bernie supporters.
Bernie supporters,
and how big was the contingency of delegates in general?
Well,
I mean, 2,500 people
there were
cheering for Bernie, and there was
about 500 delegates.
Oh my goodness! So
throughout California, from the tip north to San Diego.
So there were 5 times as many Bernie supporters as there were delegates there.
That's right.
So the delegates had to be pretty impressed by that, I'm sure.
Well, the ones that were there and not not caucusing that saw this, it was pretty impressive, man. They did what they had to do. It was nonviolent, of course, and they had their signs.
Well, you said of course, but
it could have turned. Not with the Bernie people, you know. You know, sometimes look at Trump. He just got very violent at one of his.
Yeah,
okay, but we're not talking about
that. That there's some Bernie people there that were involved in that. We'll talk about that.
We're not saying that.
Don't go away, Leonard. We're going to talk about it.
So, but I was looking around to see Hillary supporters. Now, I saw bumper stickers, you know, in the parking lot. We were at the convention, and I saw a couple of those. But you didn't see that many people with Hillary signs walking around. You saw nothing but Bernie signs.
Really?
You saw Bernie cutouts. Well, come take a picture with Bernie.
No
you know, that kind of a deal. Oh, I'm not kidding you, man. And that was impressive.
So it's there seems to be a pretty strong support for
Bernie
here in California.
If there was a vote on Saturday that afternoon, and the vote was between, do you go with Hillary or do you go with Bernie, Bernie would have been in.
Really?
I'm not kidding you.
So that's groundswell here in California.
The foot soldiers, man.
The foot soldiers.
And they were out en masse. You saw hardly anything with Hillary. And I was surprised at that.
Well, I'm surprised, too, as a news person. I didn't hear anything like that. I'm glad that I have access to you guys. This is the first time that I've been informed that there was that kind of a response. What was the news like in San Jose the next day? From that, was there news coverage on the Bernie supporters?
No, you know what? There wasn't.
And this is the city of San Jose, where the convention was taking place. I'm sure that there were plenty of news people there to deal with.
Matter of fact, there was a news truck on the outside, you know, and in my hotel, watching the current news, I don't remember, and that's in my memory, but I don't remember seeing anything about the large contingent of Bernie supporters there. I just don't. So I don't know if it was a blockout, you know, a media blockout on that. But some of the police got called in, and during the convention, there were about 3 officers. They were on their mics saying they got to go disperse the people from upstairs, and it took them about 30 minutes, and then they walked on out where they started from. That was in front of the convention in San Jose.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Well, it appears that it's not going to be a slam dunk for Hillary. The recent Michigan election demonstrated that, and now they're moving into the winner-take-all states. Wonder how that's going to go. We have Mr. Leonard Evans on the phone. Mr. Evans, I'll bet you have quite a bit to say. Let's get started. What's most pressing on your mind as we Mr. Garcia says to give you a special hello, by the way, Mr. Evans. But what's exactly special on your mind about this election process, the demonstrations, the ta-ta-tas and all that stuff? Where are you on election 216? Mr. Evans, you got...
We need a Democrat in the White House.
You said we need... Say it again?
We need a Democrat in the White House.
We've got one in there.
In the future.
Okay. Okay. Leonard Evans.
I
know...
all this talk about Bernie versus Hillary, it doesn't really make that much difference. We just need to be sure that everyone gets out to vote, because when you have a high voter turnout, you wind up with a Democratic victory.
I'm going to make a statement. I'd like for you to respond to it, and you, Mr. Britt, also. Of the Democrats that are running, I've heard Republicans say that of the 3 Democrats running, Hillary, Bernie, and Donald, that Donald is the second best Democrat on the ticket, that Bernie's the most Democrat, Donald is the second most Democrat, and that Hillary is the closest to a Republican in the race.
Oh, hold on, man. I thought Donald was a Republican.
Well, I mean, he's obviously running as a Republican, but then there are people who point out that his statement, for instance, on health care, one of the big elements that's missing with Obamacare, that many of us stand back and say, wow, if this element were in Obamacare, Obamacare would really be kicking. And that's the ability to negotiate with pharmacies to create a single buy point for the pharmaceuticals, to put us, for instance, right now, the VA is able to purchase, and they do a negotiation, they set the prices, and they purchase their pharmaceuticals much cheaper than Medicare does. Medicare, given the opportunity to negotiate their pricing, could lower the cost of Medicare tremendously, because the pharmaceuticals is one of the most costly aspects of the Obamacare and Medicare. And as a businessman, Donald says, and quite accurately, that the bulk buy, the bulk negotiation is what's necessary right now. And he says it by saying, let's dissolve the lines that the pharmaceuticals can't cross going state to state and increase the competition. That increase of competition is demonstrated by the ability to negotiate lower prices. That is extremely socialistic as far as the end result is.
Yeah, but that's a good point of business also.
Well, that's the point. Good business can also be socialistic, because if I've got 25 hotels and I'm negotiating the price for my napkins and paper goods and things of that sort, would I let each hotel negotiate their own price?
Not at all. You're going as one and get the bulk rate.
This is the concept that he has with the idea of bulk negotiations for pharmaceuticals.
Well, that seems quite well with me, being a business person.
Right.
Most cities, and I'm trying to get the cities to all together, come together and do that. For instance, and I don't want to go off this tangent real quick, but what if all the cities, Rialto, Fontana's, San Bernardino, bought their police cars at one time?
Right.
Bulk rate. We would probably save about 30%.
How thrilling. We've got a Trump rally going on right here.
No,
it's not a Trump rally so much.
Business.
One of the things that I think we need to do as we're discussing any of it is leave some of the weighted stuff out of it. Whose argument it is shouldn't be the point. The point should be, let's argue to the highest level of logic that we can.
What makes you think Hillary wouldn't do the same thing if she could do it?
Because she says she won't. She says she won't. She says that negotiating the prices, she says, no, that's not the way to do it. She says you can't do that. She's in support of the way it is in terms of negotiating those prices. And most of Congress is. Because most of Congress is going to get a little bit of money from the pharmaceuticals. This is the issue. This is one of the big issues that, as we look at it, as I look at it, I know that Trump doesn't owe big business, except that he has the secrets, and maybe they'll knock him off if he starts telling them, kind of like the magicians do. Say, hey, you can't tell our secrets. Well, Trump is a businessman. Trump has made money. Trump sends his business to China. Why? Because it's cheaper. It's easier to get done. We in the United States need to change that paradigm by making it easier for people to do business here. We need to stop saying that it's better to save money in manufacturing, when in fact, if we don't create money for our consumers to have to spend money, that it doesn't do any good to manufacture anywhere, because we won't be able to afford to buy it. So there's something for the businessman in being sure that people are well paid so that they can afford the businessman's product.
I'm not a supporter of Trump.
I'm not a supporter of Trump either. And I want to be sure that... Well, but there may be elements of what Trump says that I'm a supporter of. And so this is why I don't really want to say I'm a supporter of Trump, I'm a supporter of Hillary, I'm a supporter of Bernie. I'm a supporter of certain principles that I would like to see enacted and policies that I would like to see enacted. And I think that we as a people, a voting population, would probably do a little bit better for ourselves if we didn't lock down behind a person's name and then go along with what they say. We should have an idea of our platform, and whoever can pick that platform, or whoever's got the most planks in their platform that meet the planks in my platform, seems logically the kind of person that I would be more inclined to vote for. And for you too, Mr. Evans, and everyone else out there who actually
don't bring
figures,
me into this.
Well,
That's okay.
No. All I'm saying is that
thinking
people,
said something, you have to look at the likelihood.
When you go in the grocery store,
that it'll actually get done.
It's not the president's part to do that. That's what legislature does. The president sets an atmosphere.
Well, that's an important part of it.
But it's not.
Tell you that I'm going to make the moon green cheese. If I have no way of doing that, what does it mean?
Well, now, if you said you're going to make the moon green cheese and you had enough people vote for you based on that, that means you're sitting in a pretty dumb place. And that's the point. The people have to make the final decision. And they do make the final decision, but sometimes I think we make the decision based on things that are not really conducive to what we want.
We need to understand enough about what's going on to realize what is feasible and what is fantasy.
Well, that's important, but feasible. I mean, who thought it was feasible to have any kind of health care? If we just listened to people before, we just said, well, no, it's not feasible because
all the people that worked with
our
President Obama to make it happen, they thought it was feasible, and it happened.
Well, that's the point. Some of us think it's feasible to have universal health care. Some of us think it's feasible to have pharmaceutical prices.
Those who think that haven't really thought the issue through.
Nobody gets a go pass this time around.
That's
Nobody.
Right.
And Americans should understand that. Look at their history, the past history, and see if they've done. See if their past history is conducive to the modern day times today. Nobody that's running for the presidency of this country should get a go pass. Look at their history and then go from there.
We're going to take a short minute and look at the history of our supporters, and we'll return shortly after this break, and we'll continue the conversation. And that's what it is, folks. It's a conversation. We hope that we can influence you to think clearly. We hope we can influence you to think. We hope that we can influence you to do what's going to be good for you. And I don't know, that might not even be good for me. But we're going to take it. I'll take it. If it's good for you, I'll take it. This is Empire Talks Back. Hang in there, folks. We'll be back right after this short break.
Bees make honey.
Publish your legal notice in Westside Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. Westside Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call Westside Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
You're listening to KCAA, your good neighbor along the way.
Empire Talks Back. We're talking about your life, your future, the future of our country, and your commitment. You got to vote, folks. You got to pick somebody to vote. And right now, I don't know if you were... We're not having a California primary until when? June. So will we still be relevant at that point?
Depends. Before or after June.
Before. So, if California wants to be relevant in the argument about the Republican candidate, the Democrat candidate, and our primary isn't until June, we need to be speaking up and butting in before then. Or do we? What do you think as a delegate?
Well, I have an obligation, and my obligation to the constituency of the 7 cities that I represent, and yes, it's very strong. What we have to do now, it comes with a lot of problems too, being a delegate, because 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago, I got threatened, and I won't go into that because I didn't vote a certain way. A party wanted me to vote. And I'm going, man, I'm not even in Washington yet. I'm at my little one-horse town in Rialto, which I love, but from the outside of Rialto, I got threatened because I wouldn't go along with their quote-unquote program. I don't do that. I'm not a bought and paid man. I'm an independent person, and I fight for the people, no matter what.
So how strong is that line of independent thinkers within the delegate pool like you are? Or is it pretty much a... well, I don't know what to call it.
How strong? That's interesting. How strong is it?
Let me let you think about that. Let's get a little bit more of what's going on in Mr. Evans's world. Mr. Evans, you are from the city of Chicago.
Yes, sir.
You are from the city of Chicago. I know that as we go back to the Democratic convention of years ago that was in Chicago.
That's right.
Chicago is noted around the world for its politics. I'm not, in a position to say whether they're great, bad, or whatever, but folks get involved. We saw this recent Friday a Trump gathering that was postponed because, as so many of the Chicago protesters have said Trump doesn't belong in Chicago, which is an interesting statement. You're from Chicago. What is your view on what happened at that rally?
Well, first, I need to quote Martin Luther King, who said that he had traveled the entire country and participated in rallies and marches and demonstrations, and Chicago was the worst place in the country. Racism, segregation, that sort of thing. In fact, when he went out to Cicero, the police were literally taking people out of trees who were up there with a rifle, waiting for him to come along and shoot him on the street.
As a matter of fact, we had a Trump protester, a Trump supporter, who was witnessed hitting a Trump protester, an elderly gentleman or elderly man. I can't say gentleman.
70 years of age.
Of course, that punch he threw was kind of gentlemanly. Fortunately for the protester, the guy that threw the punch was old and feeble, but he did throw a punch, and he threw it with as much as he had. What do you think about a situation like that? We've got people who, if I was having a party and you don't like my party,
I'm going to make America great again, you need to realize what he's actually saying is that he is going to make America white again.
I think some people might definitely take it that way, but he's out there trying to gather voters. I'm one of those people that when David Duke said that he supported Trump and Trump didn't throw him away right away, I could understand the guy's getting ready to get votes. He's trying to win. Now, just because you vote for me doesn't mean that I'm going to vote for you. Just because the lobbyists, this is what they say, just because the lobbyists give me money don't mean that I'm going to do what they say.
You better.
Joe Britt says if the lobbyists give you money and you don't, you're going to get in trouble. You better. It doesn't sound like they were talking about waiting for more money. It sounds like maybe your arms and legs reaching the ground becomes the issue. I don't know how serious a lobbyist is when he gives you money expecting you to do something.
Think about it. From a business standpoint of view, someone comes to you.
That you would say that. I mean, come on.
When I first ran for office back in '94, I was a young pup. Okay, I went into an office for one of the builders in the surrounding areas, and he says, "I like the way your business philosophy is, Joe." I said, "Great. I'm going to give you $10,000. This is '94. I'm going to give you $10,000." I go, "Oh man, I'm in. $10,000. I know I can parlay that into some more money to get me in." And then it came up to but. But, and I go, "Oh my goodness, what's..." So he says, "Whatever comes across your desk in Rialto as a council person with my name or company stamped on it, you say yes."
For $10,000.
For $10,000. And I go, "Excuse me?" He repeated it. And I said, "Listen, if it's going to help the constituency in Rialto, if it's going to help bring jobs in, lower taxes, I'm okay with it." He said, "Excuse me?" I said it again.
Reality.
And then he says, "Meeting's over." When I walked out of there, there were 4 other council people waiting in line. So you want to see who's dirty? Go back to 1994 and see who got $10,000 dropped in their pocket. That's all I got to say. Bought and paid for. I'm going to give you money? Yes, you better perform. You better perform or your grass, and I'm the lawnmower.
My goodness. That's a lot of nerve. But $10,000 appears to be a lot of money.
This is 94.
So now, as we're talking...
billions of dollars.
Tell me this, Joe. The super PAC. The idea of the super PAC is that you cannot have contact or any relationship with the candidate.
Oh, right.
Right?
Right.
They can't coordinate with the candidate.
Can't coordinate with
the
candidate.
Allegedly.
So that
thank you, allegedly.
So that means that I could start a super PAC for anybody. I mean, does that legally? Do I have that?
You're an American. You have that right. You have that right.
Joe, thank you. I haven't had somebody call me an American in a long time. And and I work hard.
It's questionable, but
no. You said it now. I'm in. I'm happy with that. Because that's exactly who I expect to be, what I want to be, and what I act like.
Yes.
Allow me to explain something here that maybe
bring it in, brother.
The attention of everyone.
Come.
He's thinking.
Are you thinking, or are you going to deliver this, Leonard?
I'm ready to deliver it if I've got the green light.
Green light.
2 minutes.
Okay, now what we have to do is go back in history a little bit, back to the 50s, and think about court decisions like Plessy versus Ferguson, the integration of the Little Rock school system, and the legal cases that have enforced civil rights, and many, many different court decisions.
Okay.
And what this means is that starting at the very beginning, there were people who didn't like it, and they got very upset about it, primarily Southern Democrats.
Well, that's why we had to have the laws.
The segregationists and the bigots and the segregation now and segregation forever. Now, it turns out that the Republicans, in trying to capture more votes, decided to appeal to the Southern Democrats and get them to join the Republican Party. And everybody who thought like that, who didn't like all of the decisions you can think of that are controversial. So all of these people have now flocked to the Republican Party. Willie Horton was a guy who was let out of jail by Kcaa in Massachusetts, and that was played up in ads that's what you're going to get if you vote for Democrats.
Willie Horton was released from jail and committed another crime.
An individual that could murder your family. All of this was combined with painting a different face on poverty. In the 30s, the face of poverty was white poor people. Today, the face of poverty is minorities.
And that's wrong.
And so the sympathy for the poor in this country has now shifted, and this is part of this campaign. So what it means is the Republicans have appealed to these bigoted, racist elements and asked them to come and join us, vote for us. And that's what you've got going on today. All these polls that show the popularity of these people are among this group that they have attracted.
These people?
The Chinese have a thing that says, when you're riding a tiger, the hard part is getting off. And that's where the Republicans find themselves today. They've attracted these people in their votes, but now how do they distance themselves so they can get the middle of America to vote for them?
Well, now let's look at something here. Let's look at the idea that we have, let's say, a third of Americans who are very disappointed about things that appear to be racially slanted for them. They've been told that minorities are the reason that they don't have jobs. They've been told that minorities in other countries are the reasons they don't have jobs because the jobs are being sent to them. They're being told that even the little bit that's left here in America is subject to the choice of the immigrant that comes in and has advantage and takes the jobs, the food, gets loans. Some of that is true. Some of those things are true. When we have people who've been here all of their lives and generations of lives and they can't get traction and they happen to be white, they have a right to be upset. If that happens and they're black, they have a right to be upset. It appears to me that we have decided that only one group of people could be upset at a time, as opposed to looking at, for instance, the Cleveland rally with Trump, where the day after it was shut down in Chicago with black people being image-wise demonstrated as the reason for it. I didn't see any pictures of Hispanics fighting white people. All I saw was white people being pressed against black people and that imagery being carried. I've listened to a gentleman from Chicago this morning saying that as a black man, they were there supporting immigrants and Mexicans because, in Chicago, as black, they're in pretty decent shape in terms of being able to vote, being able to affect their future to one way or another. And they were more there to show support for others. But the imagery says black and white. It appears that you cannot be right if you're one or the other. The Saturday Trump rally, a black minister introduced Trump, stood up and bragged that he and Trump were good friends and that if anybody was going to introduce Trump in Cleveland, it had to be him.
See, that's a 50,000 budget.
Yeah, so you've got black folk. I mean, one of the first groups of people that we saw supporting Trump was a couple of comedians, black women, who got noticed all over the country because they were stumping for Trump. I don't know how the black people who are close to him feel so strong about him, and those that are subject to violence as protesters. I don't know exactly what's going there. The protesters are telling me that they were telling the world yesterday that they were being called the N-word, that they were being promised that their old jobs in the watermelon fields, that cotton was going to be their new job. I didn't hear that, but they say they did. So, and that didn't come from Trump on the stage. Like you said, maybe this is the feeling that he's giving some of the people that are following him. But then but what whistle are the black people that are following him hearing? Okay, if he's got a dog whistle that the racist white people are hearing, what's causing? What kind of whistle is it?
Great again, make America white again. Okay. That's the dog whistle message.
Okay, so what is the message?
Whistle messages and what he's saying that appeal to those people.
We understand. We understand why he's appealing.
Decisions for the past 60 years.
I understand you saying that, and understand why white people would follow him based on that. But why are black people following him?
You'd have to ask them.
I'm trying to. I'm trying to see. But I'm going to say that, like most people, they must think they're hearing something that is going to be a benefit to them.
But he's saying, I'm going to fix everything. Oh, and I know how to do deals, and I know how, and many people believe that trade is the reason that we don't have jobs here. They forget that American companies are making money by setting up shop in other countries, and there are jobs produced here because of that. It gets complicated to talk about because, first off, you need to take an attitude about instead of somebody give me a job, you need to take the attitude that you're going to go and solve a problem for somebody.
That's true.
And earn a job.
That's true. Let me ask you this. Is there any candidate that you believe is telling 60% or more of the truth? Okay. What are you laughing at, Mr. Britt?
Well,
you got jokes,
Clinton.
man.
Hillary Clinton, because everybody on the Republican side is selling fantasy. Bernie is selling his version of fantasy, and when you think about it, like they said, look, if he gets elected and doesn't get an overwhelming majority in the House and the Senate, how's he going to get anything done?
Well, now,
and when you look at what Obama had to do to pass health care, he had to placate the pharmaceutical companies and the health insurance companies by saying that he wasn't going to have a public option and he wasn't going to do mass bargaining. Otherwise, they would have spent so much money that they would have sold an idea to the American public that you don't want this and would have killed the deal, just like they did when Hillary tried to do it in the past. So when Bernie says he's going to fix it and he's going to give us single payer, how? It's a great thing to say, but how are you going to do it?
Have you heard him say how he was going to do it?
Money, interest.
Have you heard him say how? Have you heard him say how? Have you heard him say simply expand?
Him say how he's going to tax everybody.
Have you? Well, that's how.
And that never sounds good to anybody.
But it doesn't sound good, but at the same time, it is good.
But
whether it sounds good or not doesn't determine whether it's practical and can happen. But you and many others are saying no, that Bernie's plans cannot.
They're buying what sounds good. He says he'll do this.
Okay, let me ask you this, Mr. Evans. I believe all of what you're saying is that you believe all of that. I believe that you believe that. But I also know you, and I know that you are a problem solver. So, if Bernie were elected...
let me make it real simple for you. Vote Democratic and you have a chance. Vote Republican and abandon all hope.
Well, okay, that's a given.
According to Mr. Britt, that's a given.
The Supreme Court is what has given minorities what they have today in this country. If the Republicans get in charge, the Supreme Court will change, and there will be no legal recourse to pursue legal rights. It will be denied because it was the Supreme Court in the past, in the 1800s, that said slavery is fine. That's the power of the Supreme Court. And messing around with this election and thinking about, well, maybe I'll Trump or this or that, it's foolishness. It's you're talking about playing with fire. Oh, man. It's the Supreme Court. That's what this is all about. And you have to have a Democrat in there to put people on the Supreme Court to have a chance. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm saying to have a chance.
What about this? I'm going to throw this, and I shouldn't bring it up. What if, Leonard? What if the Clintons and the Trumps are working together as a team secretly, and to have him wait, and to have him get off and boast about he's going to conquer, we're going to be the best thing since sliced bread, and say all the things he is saying about the immigrants, about blacks, about everybody, and it would be to push the American voters to Hillary's side. What do you think about that?
I thought about that from the very beginning, that he was a plant designed to destroy the Republicans once and for all.
And what has he done to change your mind? What's occurred that changed your mind?
Well, I haven't changed my mind. I just simply don't know. It was a theory, a possibility. But the bottom line here will come in November when we see what the American public does. Their opinion at the voting booth is the only thing that matters in this or any conversation about politics.
Do you think that the American public has any idea what's really going on when the stock market goes up 500 points today and goes down 600 points tomorrow and goes back up 300 points the day after?
Ain't got a clue.
Do you think that we are really the nation is in danger as those things are taking place, or are we watching people make money?
Well, if people were interested, they could find out when the market moves. But I think they have other things. They are preoccupied.
No, the market is projected as being
families, their children.
The market is being projected as an
out on this preoccupation.
So our view of the market is really a preoccupation. We shouldn't be so concerned about the stock market as regular people.
The market goes up, the market goes down.
So what is it?
That's just the reality. That's what happens.
Okay, I understand reality.
So getting excited every time it moves. The only reason to get excited is if you're a trader, because those movements mean that you can be making serious money if you know what you're doing.
So the general public shouldn't be overly concerned about that, right?
If you're playing
number one,
if you're not a stock market player, should you be overly concerned about the ebb and flow of the stock market? I mean, the news leads with it every day. The news leads with how the stock market is every day, as though it's something that you, as a common,
get concerned, and he's got money in the market. His attitude was,
I don't know. I'm having a problem making my point.
To be worth more in the future.
The point that I'm making.
He says it'll go up and down. I know that, and so far it's working.
Leonard, the point that I'm making is that the information flow, the news world, tells us every day that the stock market ebb and flow is extremely important in our everyday life. We get that told to us. I'm simply asking you.
Well, you can buy that if you want to.
I'm asking you, do you think that it's that critical, or should the people the regular people be thinking about more? And if that's the case, why does our news keep focusing on the stock market for the people?
Shouldn't worry about it.
Okay.
Not worth the time it takes to think about it.
Very good. Very good.
I play stocks.
You play the stocks.
And I've been playing them for a while.
Okay.
And ebb and flow.
So-
You look
so-
at everything.
so-
I look at everything.
Yes.
And when it does
So
go
it's
down,
important
my
to you
stock's going
because
down.
you
Yes,
see
it
a
is.
way means of making some
important
money
to the
there.
players.
Yes.
Okay. And the ones that are on top, the upper 1%, they're making money. The people on the ground level, they have no clue.
Right.
They have not a clue. So if gas goes up, they got to pay at the pump. If the milk goes up, they got to pay at the dairy. They don't have a clue. They're just part of the process. The upper 1% is making money.
It's like, how does a casino win? Because they make money off of every transaction.
That's right.
Win, lose, or draw.
It's entertainment, and
That's
they're making
right.
money off of entertainment.
That's right. So our stock market should not be regarded as entertainment, but it is. It's entertaining if you're making money. If you're not making money,
is making money off of those movements every day.
And the point that I want to lead to again is the people. If the stock market isn't really that critical every day, but it is important how much the people spend every day to keep the economy moving.
That's correct.
That's important, what we pick and choose.
And that is a function of their confidence in getting more money in the future.
Now watch this. Mr. Britt is involved with an organization that affects 12 cities in the area. These 7 cities. These 7 cities do business of a normal sort. They all buy police cars. They all do public safety. They all buy toilet paper. Right. They all buy napkins. There's some basic things that they all buy. Mr. Britt is suggesting that they have a common purchasing council.
And I think we're getting there. And I think we're getting there. Money.
No one else is doing that. But to do that was a thought from you, a person, a people.
That's right.
And this is where our controls come from. We, for some reason, keep saying that, well, no, the lobbyist's going to spend us money and buy us and make us do this, that, and the other. They can't make us, they're not making us be better citizens. They're not making us vote more. Now, this year, they're going to accidentally make us vote more. They're going to get more people out to vote because the action is on the question mark instead of the exclamation mark. We don't know who we're going to get.
So you're telling me that our vote is being controlled?
I'm telling you that your vote right now is being excited, and the people who are in control are not excited because they don't really want you to come out and vote. Okay, so all of this news and excitement about the riots and the rallies and stuff, I find extremely beneficial because it's going to make people register and vote who were not registered to vote, who were going to let it just pass by, who now for whatever reason feel that my side has a chance.
Is that good for the common folk, or is
I think it's good I think it's excellent for the common folk. I think it's really good for the common folk. What you're asking me, as far as I can see it, is, do I think it'd be a good idea if we had a 98% voter turnout? And I think it would be. And that's
Very
all.
Much so.
I think to aggravate people to the point of where they want to do something is very important. And so for that, I applaud Trump, whether he's a Democrat or a Republican.
Obama's shoes are going to be hard to fill, aren't they?
Obama's shoes are going to be hard to fill because you're not going to find very many people who are willing to subjugate their ego like he did. You're not going to find many black men who will get a report from the security force and say, your life has been threatened 13 times today. And who will say, well, okay, let's proceed, and not speak to that. You're not going to find very many people who will have their personal lives attacked. People, you just won't find many politicians nice enough to be like Obama was. And I think that works good in some senses and bad in some others, because there's some of us who think he should have been a little tougher. There's some of us who think that he's walking on water. Listen, this is Empire Talks Back. I want to thank you for joining us. Mr. Evans, it's always a pleasure. Joe Britt, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to ask you to do that again. Mr. Moodmaster, you did a great job as usual. And Joe in the studio, God bless you. We appreciate you. And folks, we'll be back next week under two circumstances. One, if the good Lord's willing.
Good Lord's willing.
Two, if the creek don't rise.
Creek don't rise.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're listening to KCAA, Loma Linda, California. The best station in the nation.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
March Madness is upon us. I'm Jeff Nathanson. Men's college basketball's halftime at the SEC Final at number 17. Texas A&M is leading number 16 Kentucky 38-34. The winner of the game gets an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament, but both should probably get in. Coming up shortly, it's number 2 Michigan State. They're in for sure. They'll take on Purdue.